Patrick Townley at ptlarts.com. Inspire time. So like every week or every few days, or probably every day, but every few days, it's inspire time. So what I've been doing is like I get some quotes and stuff from like on Google, or what, to search on Google for different art quotes from artists over the years. It's good practice to get the grey matter investigating where you sit in relation, these quotes sit in relation to your own work, how you think about yourself, how you think about, just to constantly investigate this, because when we're working on our own, it's really easy to sort of lose sight or lose inspiration, lose motivation for what we're doing. But the fantastic thing is that, you know, artists are human beings. So through the years, this humanity, which is the all-important thing I feel about art, is the human connection, connecting human beings together. It's not about liking or not liking necessarily, it's about this connection. Of course, it happens all the time, all around us. We kind of take it for granted, but we're constantly influenced, aren't we, by images, by etc., by colours, by atmospheres, and they trigger off memories, and all of these are. So I want to unpack a few quotes again today to hopefully inspire me and inspire you. So I've picked five quotes for today. So I'm going to do 5 quotes and reflect on those quotes, and then I may well do those again in a few weeks' time, and I'll have a different way of looking at it. But here we go. So the first quote is from Louis Bourgeois, who is an amazing artist, which I'm sure you know. Tell your own story and you will be interesting. Brilliant observation, extremely pertinent for me at the moment. I'm really becoming more convinced that by investigating our own life story, my own life story, all stories, we're bound to uncover how it is that we make our work. Our stories are like the sketches or preparation that we carry out when we make a piece of work. So in my process for making a portrait, for example, which I tend to do in oils at the moment, I've been working in oils for a few years, and I've seemed to be doing a lot. I'm drawn to doing portraits. It's about this humanity, it's about what you see, I just find it really fascinating. So, and also I've been selling them, that helps. I will work from the middle of the canvas and then look at the relationship between the parts of the face and the central part of the canvas. So, I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. I started doing it so I could show other people how to do it. And then I realized that it works much better for me than working from the outside in, to work from the inside out, especially with this face, because everything, as you start to make a portrait, make a painting, but to make a portrait, it's this relationship between, which is really important, rather than just drawing it out exactly as it looks and then filling it in. It's like working from this middle point outwards and noticing that everything's got a relationship to it. So the way I look at that is that each of these, my mouth, they've all got their own stories. They've got their own descriptions about what they are, but they've also got their own stories. You know, what I see connects with memories, doesn't it? Whatever you see, it connects with a memory through your life, through to childhood, through sort of relationships with different people, how you respond to something like a colour, or will make you feel a certain way, can help you trigger off to feel a certain way, which will remind you of a relationship that you have with somebody, etc. So like all of the stories, your story is like in relation to how you've responded to a particular atmosphere, conversation, relationship, or whatever it is. So it's like all about these relationships. It's all about the connection. So it's like reveal, inspire, connect. So it's basically, that's how I look at it. So the stories in my life are all linked to my emotions. They're like snapshots of my current situation or condition. So the way that I feel now is like at the moment, for example, it's really mild day. There's sort of a feeling that it could be spring after a winter. It always seems like it's been dark. You always forget that you can actually open a window and stuff. I'm in the UK, so that's so to move on to the next one, which I think is linked. So I've tried to sort of have a story within the story, a story within the quotes that link them together. So painting is self-discovery. Every good artist paints what he is. Jackson Pollock. Again, moving on. So self-discovery is all part of our arts practice, isn't it? It's not really important where we are with our work or how much we've done. I mean, how much is the interesting point is what we do feel when we paint and when we look at our work later on. So it's like our response to what we've done. You know, is it a fair report on how we feel about ourselves sometimes or all the time? If we feel good about something, then all of a sudden we can not so feel. So that's what I find interesting. Fortunate enough to have a studio that when I'm away from it and I go back to it, at different times I can have a different feeling towards my work, even when it's completed and I feel it's completed, and I really like it. Lots of other people really like it. I may have even sold it. I can sort of look at it one day and feel completely different than I do another day, and that sort of is a self-discovery about actually the changing nature and the fluidity, the overall changing, evolving nature of life itself. So really interesting, really interesting. So painting is self-discovery. Every good artist paints what he is. So it suddenly starts to go much deeper, doesn't it, than the initial reading of the quote. So the next one is creativity is allowing yourself to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep. Scott Adams. Very interesting. Inspiring to first of all look at the mistake. You know, it could be a discovery. So maybe there aren't mistakes. That's a whole debate on its own, isn't it? Or, you know, the famous saying, we learn from our mistakes. So well, sometimes, certainly in my case, this is a long process. If I look through the whole of my life, a long process. I don't necessarily takes me a few knocks and bruises to learn. And certainly, you know, it's just actually sometimes you need to make those mistakes a few times to really make that learning worthwhile, don't I feel? But this quote also makes me do things. So it's a doing, so making art is a doing thing, isn't it? So all of the quotes are, it's an active thing. It's an active exploration into self-discovery. It's like, what's a mistake? Is there such a thing as a mistake, or is that the learning? What do you learn if you don't make mistakes? And then art is knowing which ones to keep, which is, I find that when I'm making paintings all the time, I'll have some sort of idea of who I want to be, and then that changes into something else, which is, I'm pleased to say, on most occasions far greater than my initial idea of what it was I wanted. And that's the way I work. It can be incredibly frustrating if you want to get to this point of perfection, but again, you learn how to get to that point of perfection by making the mistakes, isn't it? So it's like you learn new techniques that enable you to get to like the point where you want to get to if you work in that particular way. I don't, as it happens. I tend to throw everything out there and then tidy it up. So, you know, art is knowing which ones to keep. So brilliant. So next one, move on to the next one. It's about life condition again, really. It's better to be high spirited, even though one makes more mistakes, than to be narrow-minded and all too prudent. Vincent van Gogh. So flow state has become a buzzword lately, and I feel this is what Van Gogh is talking about. The preparation period and the creative process is so important, but the way that we do it can be different for each individual. It might be sometimes painting when I feel like not painting is part of the preparation process, and also like the feelings that are going on there, if they're on the canvas or involved in the atmosphere of the painting, they can be really important to the overall end piece, but it don't necessarily mean that I enjoy it. So yeah, so I have a desire not to exclude anything from my work, because I feel that, like as I was saying earlier, with this like self-discovery and also the change that this journey we're going on, like for example, you know, our planets in a solar systems in a galaxy that's traveling through space at incredible speed, and we'll never be in the same place again. So everything's completely different. Like every moment we're in a new place, aren't we? So, you know, that again puts into question whether we make mistakes or not. What is a mistake? So it's all stuff to think about. So this flow state is the energy, isn't it? It's this energy, and I believe that's what Van Gogh is like referring to. I feel that again, it's like not trying to do things really well could be sometimes lead to being narrow-minded and all too prudent, rather than sharing the whole of your life. So it is all linked, isn't it? I think on this occasion, that's how I sort of link all these quotes together. And then finally, the final one I've chosen, so that's 4 so far. Only when he no longer knows what he is doing does the painter do good things. Similar, isn't it? The zone, I've discussed that with the great sculptor John Cormacan in a previous video with the interview I did with him. We talked about a zone, the zone, like the creative place where you can find yourself when you're completely absorbed in doing your work or doing something that you're really, really interested in, some sort of creative activity. And all time and space seems to operate in a different way, doesn't it? As John commented in the interview, this is a wonderful and beautiful place to be. I'm very, and I couldn't agree more. And I just feel very fortunate to be in a position now where a lot of my time is dipping or moving towards or experiencing this zone. And I feel this zone is the place where only when he no longer knows what he's doing does the painter do good things. So the zone is, it's like this flow of paint, for me, paint on a brush onto a canvas. And for sculpture, it's just look and respond and move, and just a dance. It's like a dance, isn't it, that you have with what you're doing and whatever it is that you do. So there we are with a few more reflections on some quotes. I'll keep looking at these, and I may talk about the same quote again, like I say, from a different perspective. So I just encourage you really to have a look at quotes, find quotes. If you've got any quotes that you want to like talk about, put them in or share, put them in the comments below, and share this video with other people that you might feel will be inspired by the thoughts and the quotes and yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and so that you can see all the stuff I'm doing. Loads and loads of stuff. I'm talking about art as a business. I'm going to start putting up some painting lessons as well fairly soon, just getting some technical details sorted out so I can do that in a really effective way as a YouTube, in the YouTube channel and on my website ptlarts.com. So have a great day. Nice to be experiencing some spring-like weather. See you on the next video. Thanks very much.